A very warm welcome. You're watching Plain Speak. I'm Akanksha Swaroop. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today attended the Ganesh Puja at the residence of Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud's residence in New Delhi. The Prime Minister was seen offering his prayers to the deity along with the Chief Justice and his spouse Kalpana Das. Prime Minister's visit to Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud's residence for Ganesh Chaturthi rituals has also drawn sharp criticism from members of the Indy Alliance. They have accused the judiciary of being inconsistent and biased in its handling of key cases as well. In response, the Bharatiya Janata Party has lashed out at the opposition and accused them of unnecessarily politicizing the issue and alleged insult to the judiciary. In a press brief, the Bharatiya Janata Party also alleged that the Congress has an issue if Prime Minister meets CJI, but it has no issue if Rahul Gandhi keeps meeting anti-national people. Top sources have also told CNN News 18 that not just Prime Minister, other dignitaries have also been invited to the Ganesh Puja. Prime Minister's visit to CJI residence was very brief and various officials of Supreme Court were also present is what we are learning. So is the visit a compromise of the separation of powers doctrine of the Constitution as has been claimed by senior Supreme Court lawyer Indira Jai Singh? We'll be probing deeper into that aspect on the debate today. But first up, while the opposition is attacking the BJP over Prime Minister Modi attending the Ganpati Puja at Chief Justice's residence, here's a quick reminder to them. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had also hosted an iftari at his residence back in the year 2009, in which we also saw then Chief Justice of India, Mr. K.J. Balakrishnan, among other attendees. The BJP is also asking if this was secular, why not Prime Minister attending the Ganesh Puja at the CJI's residence? The question we are asking today is the opposition for the sake of being an opposition, because there have been several instances in the past when judges have hailed prime ministers. Let's bring you the first instance in 1953, when Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court, M.C. Chagla, in a letter to Nehru, had written that he was proud of the Prime Minister as he had given the country international status. Back in the year 1960, Justice M. Ananthanarayanan of the Madras High Court in a defamation case had described Nehru as a greatly esteemed national leader. In 1958, a bench of Chief Justice M. Hidayatullah and Justice G. Bhatt of the Madhya Pradesh High Court had termed Nehru as the most beloved leader of the people. In 1980, Justice P.N. Bhagwati reportedly wrote a congratulatory letter to Indira Gandhi for her election victory. And so on the floor, the question that we are posing to our esteemed panelists today on the opposition's attack, is it misfiring? That's a question we'll be probing in just a bit on Plain Speak.
हमारी जो केस है महाराष्ट्र में, जो घटना बाह्य सरकार चल रही है और उसकी सुनवाई चंद्रचूड़ साहब के सामने चल रही है, तो हमें शंका है कि हमें न्याय मिलेगा.
The judge should ensure that he is impartial. He will not take any sides. That is why we are there. Everybody is condemning Modi's visiting puja in the judge's house.
That in 2009, when Mr. Balakrishnan was the Chief Justice of India, and at the time, the incumbent Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh hosted an iftar party at his residence, which was attended by the Chief Justice of India. One can ask a question then also.
और वहां अमेरिका जाके इल्हान ओमर से मिलते हैं, उस पे आपत्ति नहीं है.
If executive and the judiciary both comes together to celebrate puja, whether Ganpati Puja or some other puja, I think it is a step we should welcome.
right, former Additional Solicitor General of India, Mr. Siddharth Luthra, joins us live. Many thanks to you, Mr. Luthra, for joining in on Plain Speak. Let me begin by asking you about your own views on the brouhaha surrounding Prime Minister's visit. Should a personal event have political overtones? Is this also about a personal rapport that Prime Minister shares with the CJI, and does it go against judicial propriety?
Both of them are constitutional authorities. Their functionality and their work at as a constitutional authority holding responsible positions is separate. This is a private visit, cannot be made the subject matter of a controversy. It is inappropriate as long as the individuals concerned perform their oath of duty as per their oath of office, which is without fear or favor. I think there is absolutely no issue. The fact that it's come in the public domain, I think it's better, because the fact is both are individuals, both are human beings, and both there is going to be a level of personal interaction. But when they're holding their oath of, when they're holding their respective offices, then they have to act as per the duty cast on them, and that is what is to be tested. To my mind, the controversy raised is absolutely inappropriate. It is unfortunate that our discourse is coming down to this, that we are questioning such issues. On Law Day, which is in November, the Chief Justice, the Prime Minister, the President are often sitting on the same dais. This is a matter of course. There is going to be convergence on fronts other than the professional front. And on the professional front, as long as you maintain the dignity of your respective office, I think there is absolutely nothing wrong with a personal, private interaction like this.
But Mr. Luthra, many would want to know, could the CJI have avoided this meeting? In 1987, during Rajiv Gandhi's time, shortly before being elevated to the Supreme Court, Justice Venkat Chalaya was asked to call on Rajiv Gandhi, but he refused to do so. This is also being quoted as an example that if he could do that, why couldn't the Chief Justice of India today?
These are two separate issues completely. Number one, it is not the role of the Chief Justice to do a courtesy visit to the Prime Minister. And Justice Venkat Chalaya was absolutely right. However, we are all social beings. There are going to be social occasions. There are going to be religious occasions. There are going to be marriages in people's families. There are going to be various social occasions. There is going to be a level of interaction. And why not, I ask myself. The test is as long as you are not lowering the dignity of your office. I don't think there is anything wrong with meeting on a personal level, provided you do it with the responsibility that you have towards the people of India. And therefore, I think the Justice Venkat Chalaya's example in 87, the incident in 87, the situation in 87 was totally distinct. It is not the role of any Chief Justice to go calling upon the Prime Minister, of course, just as a courtesy visit upon being elevated. However, there have been occasions in the past when people do interact, they do meet.
How do you compare the judiciary with Congress era versus now? Many are quoting instances when 18 judges were transferred during emergency era because they delivered verdicts against the government.
Ma'am, I think you need to check up. That was an era when there were a lot of transfers, but today also transfers are happening. Today also, government sometimes doesn't clear files for 2 years. So the point is this: why should no government wants a powerful judiciary? Let me make it very clear. No government wants a very strong, independent judiciary, and that is across the board. And if you don't, if you guys are not aware of the numbers, please see the numbers. So today also there are situations where people have faced transfers which disturbed members of the bar, and it's not that that's not happened. And it's not. I'm not talking about today. It's happened over the last 4 or 5 decades, irrespective of which government is in power. So governments don't matter. Governments do not want a strong, independent judiciary. Let's make it very clear. And therefore, rather than questioning it, it is people like you who should be affirming the faith in the judiciary, telling people that these things don't matter. Let the judiciary do its job fearlessly and faithful only to the Constitution and concerned only with the people of India and not who runs the government of India.
All right, and that is the hope with which I would like to leave this conversation now, that the judiciary is doing its job. Many thanks to you, Mr. Luthra, for joining in on Plain Speak. And when it comes to Ganpati Puja, Prime Minister and politics, let's now debate the question, is the opposition's attack misfiring? Let me also introduce our esteemed panelists today. I'm joined in by Ms. Charu Pragya, who's the spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party, Sajid Supariwala, who's the leader with Shiv Sena UBT, Vishnu Shankar Jain, who's the advocate, renowned one, and Mr. Anup George Chaudhary, who's a senior advocate as well. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in. But, you know, I would actually like to ask Mr. Supariwala, your own leaders, Arvind Sawant, even if you talk about Priyanka Chaturvedi, they've all called it a mockery of the judicial system. Priyanka Chaturvedi has called it a blatant disregard of Article 10. I'd like to know what are the reasons for saying so.
Absolutely. This is playing with the constitution. Why was the need of the Honorable PM to go and pray? Praying is a different matter, but going for the puja of Ganpati just for the house of the Chief Justice of India, when already there are so many cases pending against having problems with the central government, and the cases are on. And how can anybody go to the Chief Justice's house to pray for Ganpati? Why only this house he chose? Why there are thousands and lakhs of houses where he could have visited for Ganpati festival? Why the Chief Justice of India? What was the reason, and what was the, just look at the timing of him going to the house of the Chief Justice of India. Isn't it very strange? Isn't it very shocking? I don't think that anybody else would have gone to the Chief Justice of India. There are a lot of people going to their own party workers' houses. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of leaders going to common man's houses. What Chief Justice of India only? Why did he choose at this time, when already there are so many cases pending in the government, in the court, the Supreme Court? It is really shocking.
Charu Pragya, I think the question that they are also trying to raise, that came from Priyanka Chaturvedi on X today, is that there's a particular hearing due on a Maharashtra case, and that because it is election season, the hearing will now be adjourned, implying that all of this will happen because Prime Minister has paid a visit in his personal capacity to the Chief Justice of India for a religious ritual.
Good evening, Akansha, and it's good to be on your show after a break. Let's make some things very clear. One, there are always important cases listed in the Supreme Court. Always, at any given point of time. Maybe right now it is something to do with Maharashtra.
This is a very important case. This is against the
She did not interrupt you, Sajid.
Maybe tomorrow you will say there is yet another verdict. You know, at every single point of time, some time ago during elections, we were discussing the Delhi liquor scam. So at any given point of time, sir, what part of this is my time to speak do you not understand? Tell me what language you understand and I will speak in that.
I understand.
No, what
Mr. Supariwala, please let her make her point. I will come to you. I will give you time for a rebuttal. Please let her make her point.
Also, Mr. Supariwala, I disagreed with every word out of your mouth, but I was decent enough to not interrupt you. Maybe you can do me the same courtesy in return. And if you can't, you're welcome to go off air. I don't debate like this. Now hold your thoughts till it's your time to speak again. So, okay, I'm going to repeat myself, Akansha, and I'm sure he's sorry for the delay. At any given point of time, in our country, there are important cases listed in the Supreme Court. At any given point of time, our country is gearing up for elections also in some corner of the country or the other. This is a process which is ongoing. The second thing is, maybe the Shiv Sena leader does not understand the Prime Minister didn't go. The Prime Minister was invited, right? There is a lot of difference between the two things. Anybody who's invited is going to attend. And if you have a problem with it, did you express the same level of problems when an iftari was hosted in 2009 by Manmohan Singh ji and the then Chief Justice of India found it fit to attend? Or did you have a similar problem when a member of parliament was playing golf with the CJI, but that is personal life? Here we have two leaders of the two pillars of our constitution, the judiciary and the legislature coming together to pray to the Almighty, and you have a problem with that. So what is it that you have a problem with? Explain it to me. That the CGI has invited Prime Minister Modi, is that a problem? Or attending an iftari is fine, but a puja is not, and that is a problem? Explain this to me. And because, you know, it's a bit rich. which here I don't see them discussing anything official. Everybody is allowed to have a personal life, but the pseudo-secularism which has been shaping the mindset of so many others in this country needs to go out, please. We are as much entitled to a puja as you are to an iftari, and our Honorable Prime Minister hosts both. He would attend a puja and host an iftari.
All right, Sajid, how do you respond to that? Because remember, if we are talking about no courtesy visits to come from the CJI, if that is the doctrine, then why didn't you all raise eyebrows back in 2009 when Manmohan Singh was seen with then CJI Mr. KG Balakrishnan? This is the photograph I have of 2009. I just want your response. Do you approve of this? Do you approve of this, Sajid?
Was there any pending cases going on against Mr. Manmohan Singh? Was there any pending cases going on against the central government? Right now there are central government cases pending in the Supreme Court. Why and how was the timing? What was the timing to go? Nobody stopping anybody from prayers. You can go and pray. Why don't you pray at a poor?
All right, let me quickly bring in Vishnu Jain. Vishnu Jain, we are talking about pending cases, and at the same time, is this visit a compromise of powers of, the separation of powers doctrine as is preached in the Constitution, as Indira Jai Singh has also claimed? Is this one?
Now, today, let me make a revelation on your channel. And it's out of deep research, and please appreciate this, and I'm quoting and unquoting. This is the judgment of the Supreme Court, not my words, where the acting president, B.D. Jatti, visited the Chief Justice and tried to influence his judgment. Please see what has been written by the Supreme Court. Paragraph 178, and the case law is the State of Rajasthan versus Union of India, and I quote, and this is the Honorable Judge Justice Goswami who is writing it, quote and unquote, I quote, I part with the records with a cold shoulder. The Chief Justice was good enough to tell us that the acting president saw him during the time we were considering the judgment after having already announced the order, and there was mention of this pending matter during the conversation. I have given this revelation the most anxious thought, and even the stronger judicial restraint which a judge should prefer to exercise leaves me with no option but to place this on record, hoping that in majesty of the high office of the president, who should be beyond the high watermark of any controversy, suffers not in the future. This is B.D. Jatti, acting president, influencing the judiciary on 18th April 1977, sir. And it has been mentioned by Justice Goswami. And at that time, the Chief Justice was Justice Beg. And let me tell you, Justice Beg was made the Chief Justice after superseding 3 judges. Now coming to the other part. Please appreciate, Justice Krishna here was made this judge of the Supreme Court, and let me tell you, in 1959 he was the minister in the cabinet of EMS Namboodiripad.
All right, let me quickly bring in.
And there are many videos, and just one more point.
Does two wrongs make a right?
Videos there you have seen. Just a minute, sir. There is no wrong here.
Modi justified visiting?
First of all, there is no wrong here.
Is Mr. Modi justified in visiting the Chief Justice of India?
As a courtesy call, he attended the Ganpati Puja. There is no wrong. There are two pillars of the Indian democracy who are meeting
Mr. Modi,
on Ganpati Puja.
is the Honorable PM.
All right, I think Mr. Anup George Chaudhary wants to make a point. Vishnu, I'd like to bring in Mr. Chaudhary. Mr. Chaudhary, the question everybody is also asking, if the Prime Minister's made this visit in his personal capacity, that too for a religious ritual, is it still going to be labelled as a violation of the Indian Constitution?
See, it's not a question of violation of the Indian Constitution.
Well,
the
that's
question
what the opposition's claim.
What message goes to the public? That's the question. It's not the question of on a personal visit or this visit. You cannot split yourself into say, oh, this I'm here the Prime Minister or any other constitutional authority. But in my personal capacity, I'm doing this. There is no such thing as personal capacity to a public figure. The question is that a battery of cameras are there to record this, and it's all over the channels and everywhere, this visit. Then it means that this visit is being advertised. Maybe there is nothing wrong in it, or they don't feel anything. That I'm not going to comment on that at all. But once you are there as a Chief Justice of India, once you are there as a Prime Minister, it's very important to realize that a wrong message must not go. must not go that there is a real bonami between the Chief Justice of India and the Prime Minister, where actually both of them should be aloof. The unfortunate part is this. Now, I'll give you an example. Supposing a person whose case is listed in the Supreme Court goes and visits the Chief Justice of India and that get publicized. Do you mean to say it's a personal visit? He may go for... I'm not going to comment on the fact that what was the purpose of the visit. It was religious, offering obeisance to the deity. That's a different matter altogether. But we have to be sure about the sensitivities of the whole thing. What is the message that goes across?
All right, I got your point. I'd like to bring in Vishnu. Vishnu, you heard, the emphasis that Mr. Chaudhary is making is on the kind of message that is going out there. Many would want to question, what about the message that is being sent out by the opposition to the Indian judiciary?
No. See, let me tell you, Akansha, our Chief Justice is always
that is the
known.
question that I am also putting forward, Mr. Chaudhary. That's also my addition to the question.
As an officer of the court, I am saying now, our Chief Justice is known for having a departure with the practices. Our Chief Justice has participated in the conclave. I am not naming the channel. He has participated in the conclave. Now, if you are quoting judge's resolution, this Indian judiciary has gone far beyond the judge's resolution. Today, we are in the era where the live telecast is happening of the court proceedings. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. That judgment has been laid down by Justice Chandrachud and Swapnil Tripathi. And if there is a meeting, Akansha, that meeting has been brought in public domain. Let me tell you, there are many meetings which are not brought in public domain. This is the fairness of this meeting, that it has been brought in the public domain. Point number one. Point number two is this. Just a minute. Point number two is this, that Akansha, let me tell you, on 25th of December and somewhere at that point of time, there was carols which were sung in the Supreme Court by the honorable CGI, by the honorable Justice Sanjeev Khanna, by Amanatullah Khan. The video is there on the YouTube. Are there any objections?
Let's also listen in from Sajid. Sajid, what is the point that you want to make? Please go ahead. All right, I'm going to request my team to look into your audio. We seem to be losing your connection over there. But Charu, many are also talking about the Iftari of 2009, where Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, as much as he was seen with the then CGI, he was also seen with the leader of opposition, and that is Mr. Lal Krishna Advani over here. I have that photograph. And many would want to say that if the Prime Minister hosted the CGI back then, he also hosted the leader of opposition. The question now I'd like to ask is that perhaps the CGI could have also invited the leader of opposition.
Akansha, that remains the prerogative of the CGI. But here is what I want.
You know why I'm asking? Because he was not invited, which is why it's also being seen as an allegiance to the Prime Minister and not to the other side of the political spectrum.
Well, for one, I don't believe the leader of opposition is here. He's not in the country. He has been making headlines of a different sort on foreign soil.
True, but the invitation, would have been different matter.
No, but Akansha, see, this is all conjecture. How do we know, right? Another thing is, let's also remember, these are videos and photographs which have been officially released. This is not some kind of a secret. This is paying homage to Ganpati Bappa. You are praying together. The videos have come out. What is the entire discussion about? There's no secret. Like there was no secret about the Iftari party in 2009. Today, if we are doing Ganesh Vandana and Aarti, it's no secret. See, my point of contention and argument here is very simple. Are you the people who raised objections on an Iftari where a CGI attended a government which was also attended by members of the executive and the legislature? No, you didn't. And if you didn't do that then, why are these double standards creeping into all your conversations today and in a very callous manner? This is completely not fair. Also, at the end of the day, our constitution is allowing everybody to profess and practice their own religion, right? So why is it that these double standards need to be maintained for a Prime Minister who's practicing his own religion? The leader of opposition probably cannot do that unless it's election time, but we proudly wear our religion on our sleeves and it doesn't stop us from governance. On the contrary, it makes us better at governance because we govern with dharma.
All right. Mr. Chaudhary, I think everybody also has apprehensions. We've seen netizens also take to social media condemning this meeting because they're saying that such a meeting could also cast an apprehension over upcoming judgments that involve the BJP or perhaps the government of India.
So apart from that, it may not affect the judgments of the Supreme Court, but what impression is created in the lower judiciary or not even in the high courts, but you go down to the Mufassal courts. What is the impression that goes? Apprehension. What's the apprehension? Actualities, it may happen or not. But the question is, isn't that a reasonable apprehension that the people at the lower level, the judiciary at the lower level, might have that the CJI, who's the head of the entire judicial family, is having a real bonhomie with the Prime Minister personally. So, I don't know why this lady is bringing in the Ganpati Bappa's Aarti. This doesn't matter at all. Why always religion comes into the picture? I'm practicing for the last 59 years now. Vishnu knows that very well. I've been the Advocate General for the state 30 years back.
All of us are endorsing the view that judiciary is a very secular body. So as Vishnu was also highlighting that there are Christmas carols also performed.
Absolutely, no problem on that. That's why I'm saying.
All right,
Can I just make a quick point?
Sure, go ahead.
What he is offering to the deity is not the question. Nobody objects to that.
Okay, we got your message.
We are not objecting to that.
Charu, let me listen.
If the visit is publicized.
Right, that's the point you've made, Mr. Chaudhary. We take that point. Yes, Charu, please go ahead.
So, the problem here is that the current Chief Justice was hailed as a golden boy by the left liberals because of certain judgments he might have given, which made them maybe start thinking that he's against the current dispensation or the government or the Bharatiya Janata Party. I don't know. But the fact is that he's a man of independent thought, and when he writes a judgment, it has nothing to do with who is in power. And all these aspersions are being cast thinking that he can be influenced for the judgments of the future. I mean, what kind of aspersions are you casting on a Chief Justice who has written judgments which both favor and take away favor from the current government?
Right. Sajid, I want to bring you in. Many are asking that, Rahul Gandhi has now cast aspersions on India's judiciary when he's sitting abroad. But this very judiciary and the CJI's decision was lauded at the time of electoral bonds. So why is there this kind of selective criticism whenever judgments or verdicts suit the advantage of the opposition and vice versa?
It is not about favoring or unfavoring anybody. It is just a simple question that it is unconstitutional. No Prime Minister has visited a CJ's house of just going for a Ganpati Puja or whatever reason. I mean, the timing, just look at the timing.
I know you're not representing the Congress party, but you're still very much part of the opposition, which is why I want to ask, what gives Rahul Gandhi the right to go and cast aspersions on India's judiciary sitting on foreign land?
But what is the issue? Right now we are talking about the Mr. Modi going and doing puja at the Chief Justice's house.
The issue is that, we don't see an equally vocal... Why I'll tell you. I have posed questions to both ends, and that's why I'm telling you that the issue over here is that we do not see an equally vocal opposition parties talking about how India is being, talked about abroad. Let me quickly bring in Vishnu Jain. Vishnu Jain, please go ahead.
I think Mr. Sajid is unaware, and let me be very, very clear about the mettle of the Indian judiciary. Mr. Sajid is unaware about the independence of Indian judiciary. Mr. Sajid doesn't know how the Indian judiciary functions.
Oh, really?
And Mr. Sajid must listen.
Do you agree?
What interview Chief Justice of India
gave it is constitutional? Don't you think it is unconstitutional of the PM? There are lots of cases pending and can you visit the Chief Justice
I
house?
ask you which provision of the Constitution has been violated, sir?
You are allowed?
All right. On that note, Vishnu, I want to quickly end with your clarification, Vishnu. Since you have so thoroughly researched, I have these papers of restatement of values of judicial life, in which point number 10 has also been quoted. Perhaps that is what Priyanka Chaturvedi was referring to as Article 10 of the Constitution, which it is not, but it is the restatement of values of judicial life. And let me read it out to you. It says, a judge shall not accept gifts or hospitality except from his family, close relations and friends. I have this over here. Is this mandatory?
No, first of all, which gift has been accepted? There is no gift which is given, point number 1. Point number 2, our judiciary has gone beyond this code of conduct. There was a
Timing was
resolution
wrong.
by the judges
The
in
timing was
1998. Sir,
wrong.
just a
The
minute.
timing was wrong to go
Just a
to
minute.
the Chief
In
Justice house.
1998, there was a resolution, Akansha. We
timing
have
was
gone
wrong.
far beyond that
There are lots of
resolution.
pending
Today, we
cases
are
going
living in an
against
era
the
where
central
the honorable
government.
judges
How
meet
can the
everyone.
CJI be
There is
visited
the
by
live
the
telecast of the Supreme Court
Honorable
proceedings. All the
PM
memes and everything is coming on the public domain. All the hearings are being criticized and being analyzed by the
How at
masses.
this
So we have
juncture,
gone
lot of
beyond that.
pending
And
cases,
please see
sir,
Article 10, which you were just reading.
is
Where
it
is
not
the gift? Which gift
unconstitutional?
has been given? It's a courtesy call.
All right,
When the Chief
I'm
Justice
just
of
going to
India has
now.
invited the Prime Minister, he has
But the
attended
visit
that event.
also is not
It's a
allowed. Am I
Ganpati
right
Puja
or
which he has
wrong?
attended. How
Is
you
it
are
not
casting aspersions
unconstitutional?
on the Chief Justice of India? You are casting aspersions on the Indian
It is
judiciary.
not
without knowing
unconstitutional.
All right,
little of the
Anup
Indian
George
judiciary.
Chaudhary,
Is it not
I'd like to close with your
That is
thoughts. What
wrong.
explains when we've seen how 18 judges during the emergency era were transferred during the time of Indira Gandhi just because the verdicts were against the government? So, can we use the same yardstick for today's government, for the government back then during the emergency era as is being used now?
Now, this kind of a visit is I have not seen in almost 59 years of my practice. We are very conservative also. The judges have to be very conservative. Again,
No,
I'm
but Mr.
telling
Chaudhary,
you,
I want your views on how the judiciary was treated back then during the emergency era.
well, how the judiciary was ended was result of what happened after the emergency, right? What happened after the emergency? The party was voted out. So that is the thing that happened to that. That is the question of emergency judges being transferred. Today, every judge is being transferred every now and then.
So the point that I'm making,
Strictly.
Mr. Chaudhary, is that we've seen how judiciary is being treated during the Congress era also. So can the Congress...
Why does this issue of Congress era and BJP era come into the picture?
All
it's
right.
a Prime Minister.
Charu Pragya, I want you
of
to
India.
answer that.
Prime Minister is not Prime Minister of the Bharatiya Janata Party. He is a Prime Minister of India.
Fair
So
enough.
why is
Yes.
the question of competing
correct.
parties?
Very well
No,
spoken.
should not make it.
Charu Pragya,
should
30
not make it
seconds.
political issue.
So, Akansha, see this. The Prime Minister was invited for a puja. He consented. He attended. Everybody who's objecting to this is actually casting doubts on the neutrality of our judiciary, and especially that of the Chief Justice of India. I think he should file a case against all these people for unnecessary conversation, defamation, and whatnot. And I believe that doing that is the only thing which is
It's
going to set the
contemptuous.
All right,
Exactly.
I'd have to leave it at that. Many thanks to you, Charu, and the gentlemen for joining in. It seems it's been a controversial Ganesh Puja because coming up after the break, Ganesh procession in Mandya was targeted. Stones were pelted. BJP and Congress have also traded charges. We'll be discussing that in just a bit.